Hey guys, welcome back to Brake Stand Garage. So a lot has been going on with the Corvette. Some good things, some not so good things, but that's okay. I mean, it's a junkyard build for a reason. I know I'm going to be working on it here and there until I get things right. But so I actually did a C4 to C5 brake conversion for the front. And I'll be dropping that in probably a few days, where I did it with the stock brakes, got a stopping distance at 30 miles an hour, and now I'm gonna be, once I get my car back together, as you can see, it's apart, once I get back together, I will do another comparison now that the new brakes are on. They feel a lot better, so stick around for that. And right now, I'll show you what's going on. I don't know if you guys have seen on any of my social media websites, but about 4 weeks ago, I ran I ran like 5.5 quarts inside the F-body oil pan, because that's what the capacity was. But I guess people run like, 1, 2, sometimes 3 quarts over that when in an LS, like an LS swap. I don't know if that's because a lot more power, higher RPMs, the fact that, I mean, I have a high volume oil pump, so I probably should have known better, but that just creates more content for you guys, gives me something to do, not that I have enough already. But so it ran dry at like 6,000 RPMs. I looked down, I was somewhere around 40 PSI oil pressure, and I was like, oh crap, this was like after several hard pulls that I just looked down and I noticed it. So I let off, oil pressure dropped, raised back up to like 60 PSI, and I drove it home, put 2 quarts of oil in it, and oil pressure was fine. Hot idle, 42 PSI. It went up, hung up, 60, 70 while I'm, ripping on it. So I thought all was good, but there was a noise that I could kind of hear sometimes while cruising in second or third gear at like 2,000 RPM to 2,800 RPM, and then it would go away completely. I thought it was maybe a failing lifter, so I was gonna get some lifters, but I decided to look into it, cut open my oil filter, and there's some like couple little flakes of bearings. So I was like, I might as well drop the oil pan. Drop the oil pan, and there was a lot of stuff in the oil. Let me see if I can show you guys. Oh yeah, there it is. So I can't believe that it didn't knock like a mother after all that, after seeing that. I'll attach a video of it right here. I'll drop a video right here so you guys can see what it sounded like, and why I wanted to take care of this ASAP. Let me pull up some of these bearings. Grab some of these bearings and show you. So these are the ones that came out. Pretty bad. The whole thing looks bad, but over here doesn't look too bad, but there's a huge section right here where it like delaminated. Same with this other bearing. You can see where it kind of pushes out on the side where it got too hot and melted. Mind you, after that happened, I drove the thing for like a month and had no idea how bad it was. Just because there was no noise, nothing. It's just once the weather got above 80 and I started getting it really hot, oil probably started losing its viscosity and started, barely making a noise that I didn't like. So let me see what I can find over here. I'm kind of in and out right now. Flashlight's down here. Okay, I'll give you a turn around before my battery dies. I'll get that charging. And so I don't know if you can how you can see that, but that looks really good for having a spun bearing on it. I mean, That one, it's got a lot of dirt on it. But I gotta spin it around a few times, make sure that the bearing's not bad. Well, I mean, the journal's not bad, but I mean, all of these, like the rest of these, feel good. So I gotta still pull them off. I don't feel any play in them. But I mean, honestly, I cannot feel anything with my fingernails. This one is a little worse, like slightly. So I 100% have to dig into that, make sure that there's nothing bad. Right here is where the power, like where you know you're gonna see the most damage on these things, and I don't feel anything. So I know it's kind of looks like it's a little worn, but really I'm gonna stick a mic on there, and if it measures good and I can't feel anything, I'm gonna run it. I did get some new bearings, rod bearings, just standard size. I'll double check the measurements. Okay, I'll double check the measurements, and we'll get some new bearings slapped in there if everything seems fine. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna put on the one that looks like it's spun, like there's one that has like 2 light little scratches on the outside of the bearing. I know that didn't damage the cap, especially where it didn't just spin and, you know, wreak hell. So I'm gonna put the bearings in the cap and rod, tighten it out, you know, torque it, put some snap gauges in there in a few different directions. You know, probably take 3 or 4 measurements, see if it's, you know, close to spec, and if I'm within a couple thou of spec, or not of spec, but if there's like 3 to, you know, 4, I mean, I'll probably go as high as 4 thou of clearance. So I think that's would be 1 thou over allowable clearance between the journal and the bearing. Then I am gonna run it. I know exactly why that happened, and I know how not to do it again. I will definitely probably put this pan back on it, run probably 2 or 2.5 more quarts of oil, and I should be good. So that's what I'll do. I'll get away with it, I'm sure, for a little while. So I'm gonna go take care of this. There won't be too much action, just because I really want to get this done, see if I can either make the races this weekend, or at least, you know, I really want to finish the braking video for you guys. So I'll get cracking at this, and I'll see you guys later. Alright guys, so I have the bearings in, 2 of them, and hot idles, well, pretty warm idles, making about 50 psi. I'll go give her some and get her nice and hot, and we'll see what happens, see if the noise is still there. Hopefully you can see me, but I actually only replaced 2 bearings. I pulled number 1, number 2, and number 8 caps, and they looked fine, like didn't even look like anything touched. So I decided to only replace 2, and then I have extras. But it's getting pretty smoky in here from spilling a little bit of oil out of the valve covers. But I'll go give her some and I'll get back to you.
Not my favorite too big, right?
We still got oil pressure, baby. So I ended up getting those 2 bearings installed, took it for a bunch of rips, drove it to work and back for like 4 days in a row. And oil pressure still holding that 42 psi, and I have not had any signs of, you know, any funny noises, any sign that the bearings are bad. I've checked the oil a few times on the dipstick, and I don't see the level hasn't dropped at all. I made a new mark on the dipstick that resembles 2 quarts overfilled, and I've put 200 miles on it since I just spun in 2 new bearings, and the oil is still very clear with, like, you know, just it looks like brand new oil. So yeah, I'll bring it to Winterport this weekend, as long as I get the new intake manifold and fuel rails installed. Halfway through getting that installed, so yeah, hang tight for that video. But I gotta run to Kenny Upel, and I'll take you guys there, and we'll pull an intake off a Gen 3 truck, get her installed, and hopefully get that boost reference that I'm looking for. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.